No, my mouse isn't haunted. I just sat back down and was just punching some things in on my phone before I unmuted the microphone. All right. I returneth. So, whoopsies, that's the wrong button. That's the button I was looking for. We get to clean this fortress up now. Yeah. So we have 47 dwarves. We had what, like 160 a couple of minutes ago. The real sad part is one of the first casualties in this hostile takeover of the fortress was a cat. The same group is still in charge. The people who were trying to cause the coup didn't win. I can tell you that for fact. Otherwise, my military would have killed everybody that was left. So, yeah. It's just a matter of the dwarves cleaning up now. We're just trying to get all of the dwarves helping. On the bright side, frame rate's way better than it was before. It was getting a little slow, but... Yes. And the reason for that is there's not a lot of guests left. And the few that are left are already in prison. Or queued up to be put into prison. So all of the visitors are gone. But can I be sure? Not unless I start interrogating, but at the very least, they're not fighting anymore. Meaning the loyalty cascade is over. Meaning the coup attempt is squished. Very important question. We haven't figured it out yet. But, yeah. Also, welcome back to the stream, Caveman Crafting. Hope you've been doing well. You got most of the procedural terrain stuff done, so you got to do combat stuffs today. Then you can integrate the NPC spawning into the procedural terrains. Cool. And then you get to pull out your MS Paint art skills, right? I think there might actually be more beak dogs in the fortress right now than dwarves. So our next adversary has arrived. A honey badger is entering the fortress. Looks like the beak dogs are kicking the shit out of it. Ooh. Man, looks like those beak dogs are gonna get a kill in a second here. Man, beak dogs really don't like honey badgers. Jeez. And it begins. The miasma. The clouds and clouds of miasma. You know what? I'm just gonna go to you. Let's see if they start making coffins. I don't actually know how many coffin makers I have. Need more masons. Also, don't need you guys making blocks, guys. Come on. Let's just go into the job screen here. Cancel all those jobs. Cancel all of these jobs. Oh, nope, not the rock coffins. Okay. You're breaking for dinner? All right, we'll go get dinner then. When you capture things from another faction, they are 100% tame. They're not partially tame, they are tame. Which is why I can slaughter them without taming them first. Oh, there we go. See, we are now chaining up that human criminal. Animal is chaining up the human criminal. This is the one that I blame the coup on. This human criminal. Because they were implicated in the most things. This guy, Raji. I blame them for all of this. Nope, they cannot be war-trained as dwarves. With the tweak of the Raws, yes. But by default, no. So let's just say that most of these dwarves are having kind of a rough week. Although in the fighting, Stone's dwarf mysteriously vanished, ran off. Actually, you know what? My headcanon, Stone's dwarf went back to the mountain home to tell them what happened. That's my headcanon for Stone's dwarf. Going back to the mountain home to inform them of this horrible disaster at Hotbeards. We cannot have the king here. This place is not safe. This honey badger is stealing something. What are you carrying? Lettuce. Do honey badgers eat lettuce? Because this honey badger is stealing some of my lettuce. Should I be mad at this honey badger? We're out of booze! Well, that won't do. Cool, I got dwarves making rock coffins now. Yes, Stone was, I expelled Stone right next to the fighting here when it was, like, in the midst, and Stone was, like, up here, and then Stone ran off the map. I don't consider exiling always exiling, because usually what happens is they just go back to the mountain home or the previous fort they were in. So I wanted to keep that dwarf alive if I could. And I like that dwarf. Petitions. Guys, we literally already have a hunter guild. Like, do I not? Oh, I see. I have a ranger guild, not to be confused with a hunter guild. No. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to make those the same guild, because those are the same guild. Ranger and Hunter, that's the same thing. I don't understand why the game makes that distinction. Hunter Hall, there it is. Look at all that wonderful miasma. Yeah, I know, right? The ranger's range and the hunter's hut. There's going to be a lot of ghosts in here for a little bit, isn't there? It's going to be bad for a little while, I think. Cool, I got a bunch of dwarves making coffins now. That's what we need. We just need dwarves making coffins. And also dwarves putting item in tomb. An archer's arch, of course. An architect's tech. And streamers stream, and cooks cook, and dwarfs dwarf, and humans human. This stopped making sense. What happened in your house last weekend? Good lord. You've got the stench of miasma in your house. That's a problem, man. Internet's arguments that do nothing but incite arguments for the sake of inciting arguments are a bannable offense here, in my opinion. Octo, watch yourself. I'm mostly joking, but please don't incite arguments for the sake of inciting arguments, because it just makes me want to shoot people into the fucking sun. Yeah, that's a bad idea. Pilot. I mean, you cooked that ramen to a point where it was no longer being cooked. Just eat your fucking sandwich and your fucking hot dog and drink your fucking water and shut the fuck up. You're gonna argue about something, at least argue about something that matters. Arguing for the sake of arguing just rises my stress levels and gives me anxiety. It doesn't actually benefit anybody. Well, now you can smelt some iron, so that's good. Pilot, that you made charcoal in the microwave. Yeah, it's not a bannable offense, but it should be. It should be. All right, working on these coffins here. I'm a type 1 diabetic, yeah. Because I'm a broken person whose body doesn't work. My little sister's also type 1 diabetic. Oh, hey, we're twins. Would you look at that? Now, if you also have one eye that works, that might be a little bit creepy. Do I use a pump? No. No, I use disposable pen needles. Now that is creepy. You and your wife are like me split into two people. Which eye, if I can ask? Beak dog's forgotten its training. That's fine. Slaughter it anyway. Okay, yeah, that is creepy. Or rather, is the right eye the one that works, or the one that doesn't work? Because my right eye doesn't work at all. My left eye barely works. Sort of works. It works when it feels like it. The rest of the time, I just see spots and then pretend that I'm seeing. Right, doesn't work. Okay, that is kind of creepy. Kind of creepy. Not actually, but weird coincidence, I'll say that. Have the dwarves started putting corpses up here yet? Some. So there's just this zombie hanging out here. I don't actually know who it was, but it was probably one of my dwarves. And it's just this dwarf pale hunter who is friendly and not a threat. And he's just going to hang out here probably forever. As we place more coffins, bits and pieces go up there. I think we can clean this fort up. We'll probably get another migrant wave pretty soon, actually. One of the most impressive things to me about this whole fort is that it's still alive. Usually fights like that, even when the military shows up and kills the stragglers, usually then the military just starts fighting amongst themselves, but for some reason they didn't, which actually makes this really cool. It's like there was a coup while the military was out, and by the time they got back, they were only able to save a few, which is kind of neat. I don't know. I'm like weirdly sold on this fort now. Like we got 47 dwarves and like about 34 of them are in the military. Bunch of dwarves are just like imprisoned, and got a bunch of religious characters named in the fort now, which is also neat. Dwarves left and right, just putting bits and pieces of dwarves into coffins. There's Axon's coffin. There's friggin' Bob's coffin. KD8, Bonehead. Bonehead was born in this fortress, made an artifact helmet in this fortress, and then died in this fortress. How sad. Rhinestone. Rhinestone was a fucking trooper in this fort. Literally went around interrogating everybody. What a fucking beast. Miss you, Dwarf. You were a good dwarf. I think I need to drop my sub-goal. We're at 467. Let's just drop it down to 4. So I don't see myself getting up to 500 again anytime soon. Something crazy happens. Super expecting, so. Also, cheers to you guys who've been supporting the charity. Thanks, Stone. Your miasma showing? Yeah, I noticed. It's okay, it'll wash out. The scent might not, but the coloring will. Pilot, which homeworld are you playing? All right, let's do this. This. More coffins down. A giraffe is... Oh, that's fine. I'm like, why are we fighting with a giraffe? Hunters, right. You really hate the controls? The controls in them... Okay, so... This is my justification for the control scheme in Homeworld. The control scheme in Homeworld is a bitch. But it's a 3D space RTS from the 90s. And its control scheme is a bitch for the same reason any game from that era, its control scheme is kind of a bitch. They're still figuring out how to make it work in the first place. The fact that Homeworld's control scheme works as well as it does is kind of a fucking miracle. My recommendation is suffer through it. It'll get better. It's worth it. Turn down the difficulty and just suffer through, because it is a good... It's the best control scheme they could have done at the time with the technology that they had. Unless, like, it's just not worth it, in which case, then don't bother. But I'm still planning on streaming Homeworld 1 and 2 at the very least. I'm assuming that's what Pilot's playing, is remastered. But I am planning on streaming Homeworld 1 and 2 this year. Because Homeworld 3, please don't be shit, please don't be shit, please don't be shit, please don't be shit. That's all I have to say about that. But I'm going to do that probably next month. Because there's some stuff this month that I want to do. I'm going to be doing a lot of Jupiter Hell and other things, so that'll keep me busy. Never played Homeworld? Great games. Homeworld got you into RTS? Really? Ooh. We've got Herbalist that is withdrawn from society. This is interesting. Such a fort that has seen so many calamities. Craft store shop? Yep. Claims a craft store shop. Dwarf is moving real slow. It's this dwarf. The rest are all moving like twice the speed. Not for you right now. Fair enough. Just realized, like, playing Homeworld is like 4 hours of struggling with controls, and then suddenly one of the best stories in video games. That's playing Homeworld. That's just it just comes with the territory of playing Homeworld. I've never played a 3D RTS, like a 3D space RTS, and I've played a couple of them that has had a good control scheme. Every single one I've ever played, Fargate, Homeworld, even Supreme Commander to a degree, has shitty control schemes. Like, none of them control well. Supreme Commander is a little bit better because it's kind of a fake 3D RTS, but every 3D RTS I've ever played has had a bad control scheme. You defined one of your squads as an archer squad, but some dwarves won't stop picking up melees. I would not make an archer squad. But you, especially if you're new to the game, do not try and do a ranged squad because it's very easy to miss steps that makes it almost impossible. You may need bolts, you may need quivers, you may need a specific type of bolts. You may need crossbows. Sins of the Solar Empire isn't 3D. Why I didn't mention Sins of a Solar Empire. Sins of a Solar Empire is fake 3D. The ships move in 3D, but you can't control them in 3D. Like, there's plenty of space RTSs that are fine control schemes, but they're all fake 3D. They're not real 3D. Have bolts, crossbows, quiver is directly assigned in uniforms. Yeah. But maybe they're too sober. It's not how it works. Trust me. You're missing steps. I would not recommend trying to make a ranged dwarf squad because I guarantee you when you get your first siege, they will all just like dive in melee and die anyway because I guarantee you you're missing steps. But if your dwarves are even remotely sober, they're too sober, so make them more booze. I will say, after having played a game called Fargate, controlling Homeworld is a piece of cake. You want to see a bad 3D space sim or a 3D space RTS control scheme, try playing Fargate. Good luck! That's a bad control scheme. Because it's a fully 3D RTS, but also the camera's locked at a specific angle, so it's like... Ah! It's like building up and down in isometric game, but like less playable. Just expect your ranged dwarves to just charge and try and melee the goblins anyway. Yeah, that's the only way to really do it. And also make a ranger guild, and then they'll teach each other being a ranger. Did you, Cool. But yeah, I would actually say making a proper ranged squad in Dwarf Fortress and setting them up correctly is the hardest thing to do in this game. Hunters are great. One thing is for certain, by the time we're finished cleaning up all of these bodies, these are going to be some of the most hardened dwarves. They are truly going to be some of the most hardened dwarves. They're just placing items in tombs. They're not even, like, making more coffins. Come on, kettle. There we go. Some dwarves are still making coffins, which is what we need. Astronomical profits. Hungry helicopters hover hungrily hippos. Happily no one cared. Invisible clowns balloons pop. Whale calves drink more milk than welders. Chicken eggs taste like eggs. Very profound. Coin this. There we go. All caught up. This is going to be such a rough fortress to walk into. To enter this fortress through this door, you have to walk by so many bodies. So many bodies. Well, this is fitting. Aiden, the herbalist, has created Diz Dag, a dwarf bone table, and offers it to the sweltering sand. This wasn't a fell mood, but it is a dwarf bone table. Wait, what? Fast, E-N-E-D-E-V-E-N-D, fast dividend? What is that word? E-N-E, fast dividend? This is a dwarf bone table. All craft store ship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with square, brilliant cut onyx opals and oval sandstone cabochons, and decorated with bands of round lime wood and cushion granite cabochons. This object is encircled with bands of round lime wood and cushion granite cabochons. This object is adorned with hanging rings. If I need to sneeze... Jesus. This object is adorned with hanging rings of cave spider silk. On the item is an image of Vabak Boltgears, a dwarf. In dwarf bone, Vabak Boltgears is making a plaintive gesture. The artwork relates to the mortal wounding of the dwarf Vabak Boltgears and hotbeards in the mid-autumn of 166. On the item is an image of a cloth in avocado wood. On the item is an image of two icosahedra in red pyrope. Fastened even? Is that what that says? Okay, I'll believe you. It's a hard one. You know what? I think I will put that table right here so I can go next to these coffins. We'll dedicate that to the coffins. And we will put a throne next to it in case anybody wants to have a meal there. Seems to be fastened evened. You just got back? What the fuck happened? Chat, what the fuck happened? Also, hey, Letharticus. A cat died. This is true. A cat did die. And a child died like 50 times. fuck's happened. So an artifact got stolen, and we started interviewing people to try and like pin down who exactly stole the artifact, which got us all of these different bits in the justice screen, and it always came back to an attempted coup. And then I was raiding the goblins, and I decided to try and exterminate a spot, so I sent my whole military out to go raid the goblins, and while the military was gone, clearly the coup began, and it began by one of the guys that I was arresting going nuts and attacking the dwarf that was arresting him. That dwarf turned around and killed the guy that was arresting him, and then everybody just started fighting. All of the bards started fighting. Basically, a loyalty cascade happened. But in my mind, what happened was we killed one of the heads of that gang, which is true, it happened, and all of the dwarves started infighting and fighting 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 until all of the dwarves, more or less, in the fortress was dead. We went from about 160 dwarves down to 47, including my military. And the only reason the military survived is because they weren't there at the time. When the military came back, I stationed them in here, and they cleaned up the rest of the stragglers that were still fighting on our dwarves, as well as bards and poets and various other members. This is actually the second small fight that we had that cost a bunch of lives in this fort. If you remember, earlier in the fort, we had a bar fight breakout earlier on between a bunch of dwarves that ended with like about, I don't know, 20 bards and poets and scholars getting killed. But this time it broke out in our fortress as well and caused a lot of fighting. But even though the majority of the dwarves in the fort are dead, to me this is a call for war. And once we finish cleaning all of this up, it's a good spot to retire this fortress and then start another fortress in this area to genuinely go to war and exterminate these goblins. And probably this necromancer tower down here, who I'm blaming for some of this, as well as, these big goblin fortresses with 5,000 plus. So, yes, a necromancer over here in the corner. Hey, another gremlin. Another gremlin. There's a lot of gremlins in this world. But yeah, I think it's time for the Crimson Pulley to cease their peaceful trading and light raiding of the goblins and go all out into the murdering. Come on, little gremlin, you can get out the side door. I got faith in you. Run, you moron. Get out of here, you nitwit. You twit boy. You silly gremlin. Maybe this is actually that first gremlin. Oh, please pull that lever. Please pull the Oh, we didn't pull it. They just went off the map. They literally are just trying to get out of the caverns. Maybe this gremlin's just like the adventurers that I play that start in Dwarven forts that are like, how the fuck do I get out of here? And then they finally figured out and they're like, yay! Also, the river's all dry again. So, what we're currently working on. So that's what the fuck happened. Plot happened. Yes, and we also have a dwarf bone table. But yeah, the child that was beaten to death and risen from the death and beaten to death was this one. Apple. This child just kept getting rezzed, murdered, rezzed, murdered, rezzed, murdered, rezzed, murdered, rezzed, murdered. I think it was this child. It was around this area. It was one of these dwarves, but... Also, hey, Nix. Yeah, you got gifted a sub earlier. It was just a rando sub, too. Oh, boy. The Forgotten Beast, Ugosh, has come. A towering one-eyed nightjar. What the fuck is that? It has a round shell and it has a bloated body. Beware its fire. All right, now this might be it. A flying fire beast in an area that can just fly into the fort. Oh, actually, no, it's not an area that can just get into the fort, I don't think. Because it's fighting with the other Forgotten Beast, who is made of charcoal. The other Forgotten Beast is right there. But also, this is the worst area to be a fire beast. Look at all of this, all of these cobwebs around here. Those are all going to burn very quickly. I'm hoping that this nightjar bird beast thing is flammable. Never mind. It's actually dead. Because it got caught in this guy, the other Forgotten Beast that I haven't fought. This is the one, this is the one cavern layer I don't have access to, which is a quadruped composed of charcoal, which I haven't bothered fighting with because it's got webs. But also, this whole area is on fire now, so I'm hoping that it's just going to catch fire. Come on, please be flammable. Please be flammable. Please burn to death. That would be so helpful. It's literally a web beast that's composed of charcoal. It's like, look at all of this shit burning. It's all going to burn. Yeah, it's so nice when problems solve each other. It's just a pity that they didn't actually solve each other. Because this one just killed the flying one. But we'll see. I mean, there is a lot of things that could burn this guy. It's just a matter of it actually burning them. The suburb? Yeah. Well, I figured that out once it started flying. Usually it's like, if it's a beast and it starts flying, it's probably burb. All right. Fire burning closer, 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 closer. All right, chat. Do you guys think that this Forgotten Beast is going to die to this fire, or do you think it's smart enough to run away? It may have already been smart enough. I don't even know if the fire is going to move up and over. May or may not. I think it's going to live. Minigame proposal? I mean, you could do that in arena mode. But dwarves don't like watching things fight. Just like humans don't like watching things die. And if you do, you generally probably need to be put into a mental hospital. Come on. I don't think the fire's going to burn up to the upper level. Just don't think it will. Nah, doesn't look like it. Oh well. Back to more pressing matters. Ancient Romans would disagree. Dwarves are not ancient Romans, so if you give me an irrelevant argument, it doesn't really change the fact that having a fight pit in your fortress is a net negative for your dwarves. And I got a dwarf that's tantruming over here. So, it's an irrelevant statement based on the way Dwarf Fortress works. Because Dwarf Fortress is made by people that don't support, you know, gladiatorial combat and murder of people, right? I appreciate your history lesson, Ibigo, but it's still not relevant to the way this game works. It's a very true statement that it's a completely irrelevant argument. Well, you see, I stated that dwarves in this game do not like seeing combat. Elves, you know what? Let's just whatever. I'm just going to. I will just throw this out there that probably mental health in Rome was pretty bad. I'm going to throw it out there. It's probably pretty bad. I would be willing to bet that most Romans, if they were alive today, having seen the stuff that they'd seen back then, would probably need some serious therapy. I can tell you right now, if I had to live in a place where I had got to watch people die on a regular basis, I probably Be pretty messed up at the end of that. Probably. You know, it's funny that you say that about Twitter, but like, go look at some Roman graffiti. Although humans really haven't changed that much. We shit talked exactly the same ways as we do now. The only difference is we can do it more efficiently now. You know, dwarves have therapists, right? It's called the mayor. It's literally the mayor's job, is to get yelled at and complained at by citizens. So Dwarf Fortress already has a therapist job. It's just the mayor. And a lot of people have a tendency of just ignoring their mayor and not giving their mayor the things that they need to do that job, which is a real shame because it's a very useful job. And it actually like can help some dwarves come back from being super depressed. I've seen it work. It's not the most common that it works, but I'd say like maybe 1 in 3 dwarves it works. But yeah, in regards to that minigame proposal, arena mode, which is accessible via, I think it's the init files you have to make it visible, which is technically like the bug testing mode for Dwarf Fortress, just lets you pit things against things. So if you want to watch. Did you give your mayor all of the things that your mayor needs? Did you give them their throne room, their quarters, their dining room, their chests and their cabinets and their armor stands, and obeyed all of their laws? Did you also give them all of the side jobs that they need, like the captain of the guard? That or you just have a really shitty mayor. But it is their job. Like, if they have... if dwarves are sad, that you'll see this attend meeting. This is a dwarf that's sad who's going to go have a meeting with my mayor. Here, I'll show you once it happens. This is a sad dwarf, right? And this sad dwarf here is going to go to the mayor, who is not here currently. Is on a different floor where the mayor's office is. Walks past all of the corpses. Don't mind the bodies. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You'll make it. I have faith. That's our mayor up there, Kubak, who's dejected upon wearing tattered clothing. Unfortunate. We're working on it, man. One thing at a time here. Walks in, and then speaks, and is satisfied while yelling at somebody in charge. Feels satisfying while crying on somebody in charge. The body of my friend decayed without burial. This leaves me so shaken, says the dwarf. And then this dwarf feels empathy while being yelled at by an unhappy citizen, and empathy while being yelled at by an unhappy citizen, and satisfied after conducting a meeting. That is dwarven therapy. So that is this dwarf acting as a therapist, giving this dwarf 2 happy thoughts and this dwarf 3 happy thoughts. That's the way your mayor's supposed to work. Then they all go back to placing items in tombs and constructing coffins. So that is the therapist, air quotes, job that people keep requesting to exist. It already exists, and it happens. You just need to pay more attention. It's not what it is, but all right, Hatch. I mean, isn't, like, the mayor kind of the mental health staff for a whole town? They convince us all that it's going to be okay and then don't actually spend our money on what they say they're going to? Shoutouts to our little goblin in the fort, by the way. Who's afraid after experiencing trauma? You poor dwarf. You poor goblin. Oh, man. I think I figured out somebody that was getting rezzed and killed on repeat. My word. Yeah, I mean, if you're unhappy with the way your town is, you should go yell at your mayor. That's literally the job of your mayor, I think. That's how mayors work, right? Also, if it was a Karen hatch, they'd be yelling at the manager, which is a completely different job. Although in this case, my mayor is also the manager, but that's an unrelated concept and not a legitimate argument in this discussion. But they would have to be yelling at the manager and crying at the manager and yelling at the manager. Not the mayor. The mayor is not what a Karen yells at. A Karen yells at the manager, not at the mayor. So, not a Karen, in fact. Debunked your take. I don't know why I find that so funny, but before now, I've never played a fort long enough to get a mayor or lack of military long. Really? 50 dwarves is what you need to get a mayor. 50. You've never had 50 dwarves? That's like 2 migrant waves. Maybe 3. I'm not sure why. What are you doing? I'm gonna dump this body. I'm not sure why, but they would seem to be unable to bury that one. They weren't a member of the fort anyway, so I feel less bad about it. Do I have any zombies? I think all of the you know, maybe this faction just really hates undead. Because all of the zombies that were in the fort got killed.
19.
19! It's one more than 18 and one below 20. I didn't know where to go with that. Thank you very much for the 19th month. Welcome back, Arch. Here's my dude. Jack, can I get a big round of beers for Arch, keeping that sub alive for a 19th month? Fuck yeah, dude. There's a lot of dead shit everywhere, and we're cleaning it up. It's kind of a nightmare. Feels like watching The Matrix? You haven't watched The Matrix in a while, man. Or are you saying it's like watching The Matrix because it's like watching a very, very, very good movie? Because I would agree with that. You should go back to the VOD on my YouTube channel for my birthday stream last year. Which I think is just titled as Charity Stream for my birthday. But it's on my YouTube channel. Where I actually use the Matrix tile set with the Matrix colors, in fact. Where everything is like various shades of green and it uses the actual Matrix font. Which is kind of actually not as difficult as it sounds. Actually totally playable. It was just a little bit fucky initially. Yeah, if you go to the actually, I think I still have it installed, don't I? No, I don't. Oh, I mean, I still have it downloaded. I was just gonna launch it. Yeah, it looks like this. Those are the colors for it, but yeah, it looks like that. Like, that's like a room with some stuff on the ground and floor tiles and yeah, it's a pretty good tile set. Also, this is pretty good. What's funny is like they made this tile set but didn't put the tile set into the meme. It's pretty good. It's better than the Nicolas Cage tile set. Nothing's better than the Nicolas Cage tile set. Also, thanks Stone for helping. And H2O for helping. And Epion for helping. Here's everybody. You missed it? Well, that was on you, man. Here. Looks like this. Here's a link. That's just it's a very small screenshot, I know, but it's actually quite playable. I've played using that tile set. It's not bad at all. If you know what you're doing in DF, it's really not bad. Not as good as Shrek tile set. You take that back. Considering I've successfully played Dwarf Fortress with a tile set that's nothing but a picture of my face, so every piece of the tile set was various parts of my face. There are worse tile sets than the Matrix tile set. Oh, yeah, knowing what if you don't know what you're doing in DF, that would be your issue. You would love this game though, Arch. You would probably love this game. Well, that's not good. A vile dank of forceness has arrived. Well, holy shit. Troll crossbow gobs. Well, we're gonna lock all of the dwarves inside. Why did they pick to spawn down here? It's such an odd spot. We are going to immediately close the side door. And anybody stuck outside is just dead, unfortunately. It's one thing after another. Yep, that's generally how DF works. Let's forbid that door. Oh no, they are coming in the side door. They're coming in the side door. They're coming. Oh, it's okay. We were able to close it. But problem is there is what? 2 trolls and a beak dog in by the side door. So I'm going to run the military over here and we're going to stab them to pieces. I think that might be my beak dog. I'm just going to go. I'm going to tell them to just kill these trolls. And hopefully if that beak dog's evil, I'll kill it in the process. Yes, that beak dog is evil. I wasn't sure if it was one of my beak dogs or not. All right, well, those trolls are dead now, so that's good. We killed the 2 trolls. Those trolls are all bouncing off there. How big is this raid? Pretty big! All right, well, they're all coming out of the dry riverbed. And hopefully... Well, they can't get in that side now, so that's good. The other door that I need to close, actually, when I think about it, is river door. This lever. Gotta pull that. But they don't come in the river. All of the trolls are stocking up where they're supposed to. Actually, this is kind of great. Who here hasn't seen the trap go off yet? Which means we get to have one final hurrah. Fire off the trap one more time. Look at all these goblins. Oh my word, actually. Are they even able to get up? Hold up. Is there a ramp there? That would be too funny if there isn't a ramp there. There isn't a ramp there. I can just drown them all in this river. It's funny that they spawn in the riverbed. I like to think that the goblins are raiding us because we keep blocking their water supply. Like, they all live along this river, and I keep blocking the river. I know that that's not... Okay, no, there is a way up for them. They're just, like, arguing over directions. Is this... The siege door is open. They should be able to get into the fort. What? How are they getting into the... What? Alright, somehow they are getting into the fort. I don't actually know how. Somehow some of them got into the fort, and I'm not exactly sure how. This is it, potentially. I mean, my dwarves are definitely stronger than their goblins. So fighting them should not be an issue. Are they just walking through my trap? I don't know how some of them have gotten in. Trying to figure out how they've gotten in. Well, looks like the few goblins that have gotten in are all dead. They should just be trying to take... Oh, I know how they're getting in. I know how they're getting in. I can fix it. It's that lever. Yeah, it's this route. They're taking the trading door. I totally forgot I had that because it's been a while since I've been sieged and I was kind of busy worrying about other things. So we can close that pretty easily. Will seal that. Meaning they have to turn around and their only way in now is through the trap. Perfect. Okay. I thought they were climbing, but no, they definitely were not. So now they're coming in where they're supposed to. All right. Well, solve that whoopsie. My bad. Let's keep those coffins going if we can. Right, well, here come all of the beak dogs in this way. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be that many. There's only about 100 of them in this siege. I can tell you for fact it won't be dry along the way, Mr. Hatch. But we could check. We could check. I'm leaving it blocked. I'm not going to unblock it, so. Right, that's the main army that needs to get down and into the trap before we can fight. Once that army is mostly down in here, we can fight. So let's follow the beak dog at the front. I said the beak dog at the front. It appears to be named M. Also, Cussy, you want to know what is good news? The good news is we formed a religion in this fort, and you got to be our religious leader. Bad news is you died in the fighting when the coup happened shortly afterwards. So you got your religious leader. You also died very shortly afterwards. So I apologize. But also, yay, I don't know. Yes, and oh no. Yeah, I apologize. But also, hey. I love how, Pink, where in the fuck do you think you're going? I'm gonna suspend that job for a sec. You turn around. Very, very stupid dwarf. All right, so I need to seal this off. How are we doing? I think I'm gonna give it another minute. I'm gonna let this goblin get out, I think. This guy will be allowed through. We'll seal it when that green goblin gets up here. Pouring out to your homie? Hell yeah. Jack, can I get a round of beers for all of the dwarves that kind of turned into a fine red paste during that fighting? And are now a sparkly purple gas. All right, so we'll set him to be killed. We're going to go up to here. I'm going to pull this lever. And I'm going to pull that lever. Follow you. Looks like Ibel, the swords dwarf, is coming to deal with him. Looks like the other goblin made it out too, the green boy. Well, that's one goblin done. Let's deal with the second one. Go get him, Ibel. Looks like the back door was locked. Front door is locked. Perfect. Trap is sealed. We got one goblin to kill. Which, our dwarf is off to go do the work. You raise your Modelo in their honor. I'm sure my dwarves are honored. Stab him to pieces! Stabity. Got him. All right, sweet. So now that that's done, I can pull the fun lever. Time to summon the power of the Gurgletron 9000. For possibly the last time. So if you've never seen this trap go off before, chat. Come up here and conduct a meeting. Coming up to attend a meeting. You're coming up to pull the lever. Walks up, and lever has been pulled. One frame at a time. The lever being pulled is going to drop that drawbridge in the center. This was a peaceful fortress. We want it to be a peaceful fortress. The goblins wouldn't permit it. How unfortunate. And now, one frame at a time, the water flows. And just like that, the whole siege, all of the blue is drowning in the siege. And just like that, as quickly as they arrived, the siege realized that this is how they fucked up. The best part is when the blood hit. Yeah, when the water impacting them is so tough that it blasts blood out of them. Yeah, I agree. That is the best part. 'Tis indeed the best part. Somehow the siege is still happening. Strange. Well, in that case, we are going to tell all of our dwarves to station here. And we are going to unforbid that door. Go get them, dwarves. Here comes Kettle Lars up in first. Diving through. Oops, where are you going? Never mind, you're going to go pick up equipment. Are you going to go station? Yeah. Guys, you're supposed to... There you go. Okay. They all go in and station. Looks like a couple of my dwarves got hit pretty bad at the start. The fighting falls apart real fast. Our dwarves are in a martial trance. Multiple dwarves are in a martial trance. Crashing through. I don't think we've lost anybody. Nope, doesn't look like it. Dwarves are powering through. And those dwarves, filled with vengeance after everything that's happened here. How many of them are left alive? There is one invader left. Who is a troll, who appears to just be standing right there. So let's go kill that troll. And the rest of the dwarves leave. And so now, I can pull the drain. To start draining the trap. And we need to drain the trap before we leave the fortress. And draining the trap, of course, is going to let water flow out. Down here. This is the best part, in my opinion. Hey, Kubok, our mayor got reelected. Means it's been a whole year since mass deaths. What, the fun lever? What do you mean? The fact that we can raise a beer to your to the dead dwarves, Smill? Now we just have to wait for some dwarves to pull some levers. There they go. This is the final drainage. This is the final time we drain the trap. Wait, what? There's no way in hell that just filled up that amount. Apparently, me draining the trap just completely filled this entire thing up again. I refuse to believe that. But that water, this was drained before the fight happened. No. Well, I mean, your dwarf was simply a holy person. Your dwarf was not on the wrong... I don't know who was and wasn't on the wrong side. I'm assuming all of my dwarves were on the right side, and it was an attempted coup by the visitors. Apparently, yeah, that just, like, insta-refilled this river. That is wild. Huh. Alright. Well then. Anyway. That's it draining for the final time. We gotta let it drain all the way out. We gotta drain all of this out. Maybe it did. Because all of the water just came firing out of this so fast. Perhaps it did. And you can watch the blood flowing around down in here. It's great. Now you're asking for a lot, man. I don't know. Should we make a statue for the first priest? I don't know if he got to be a priest that long. It was like maybe a couple of months. Pull the lever for the side door. I don't understand why they're unable to... There's a problem with that coffin. We're gonna uproot that coffin. I don't know. In case it's not obvious, Cussy, I'm a little bit busy with, like, memorializing all of these dwarves before we have 55,621,246,321 ghosts floating around. That's my concern. So I don't personally give a shit about the first priest of this stupid fort. Much more concerned about enacting vengeance on the people who caused this. Much more concerned about that. Well, that's my actual concern, right? Just so that we're clear here. That's my actual concern. Did they get those numbers? 641,241? Oh, wow. Let's see. 18,346,316. Eh? It's pretty good at that. Not bad, subtitles. Not bad. We've gone back to just constructing coffins. Well, at least we finally found something that the subtitles are good at. But yeah, if you want, if chat thinks it's a valid thing, I will absolutely make you a statue. I just don't personally see a reason why that would need to be a thing, Cussy. So if you can convince chat that you deserve a statue for being assigned an arbitrary role for 20 minutes, we could definitely give you a statue for that. I'm not certain it's currently. Yeah, I don't understand what's wrong with this dwarf, but we need to get rid of it. That corpse is a problem. Please just go dump him. I don't know whose corpse that is, but my god, it just keeps bugging out and getting stuck in places. Although right now, your dwarf's looking like they're going to be lucky if they get a coffin, let alone a fucking, let alone a statue for some reason. Let's just make a stockpile for corpses right here. At the very least there, they won't give off miasma. We're not making slabs. Nobody's getting slabs. Trust me, no one's getting slabs. Making coffins is faster. Slabs are only for if you can't find the body. Otherwise, coffins are way quicker. Because you don't have to make them and then engrave them and then place them. You only need to place them and put a body in them. And the bodies are all right here, so it's not exactly inconvenient. It's way quicker and better to just make slabs, because then we don't need to dispose of the bodies then afterwards as well. So no one's getting slabs. Everyone's getting coffins. For clarity's sake here. Yeah, the bodies are everywhere, which means they're all very nice and close to where we're putting the coffins. This entry area for this fortress is just becoming a tomb in the process. Also, we'll never be sure, but one of the dwarves in this fort was made into a table. The corpse of the dwarf, of course, was made into a table. I just have no idea whose corpse was used. But this table here is a dwarf bone table. I have no idea whose bones it was. I really wish I checked while that dwarf was working on the artifact, but it wasn't a fell mood, so I didn't think to look. Look at how many different dwarves are putting things in tombs. There's so many! Also, so many teeth got knocked out. Holy shit. The fact that there's only one ghost floating around is kind of a miracle. Forlorn hunt, seeking out known locations, or drifting around the place of death. This spirit has not been properly memorialized or buried. Poor guy. Hanging out beneath the well in the hospital. Oh well, how sad. I just received a DM from somebody asking how to mod Soul Ash accurately for the weapon durability thing. And it's like, I think that they're just DMing everybody this because they sent me this DM, which is, yo, playing Soul Ash but can't seem to get the durability mods to function in any of my games, all new games. Is there a specific order or procedure I need to ask the mod menu? And right as I said, I'm not the person to ask, they copy-pasted the same message a second time. I think that they're literally just going down and asking everybody in that Discord, which is kind of funny. I really hope that the popularity of that durability mod, though, notifies the developer that he should probably nerf weapon durability. Hope so. God, there's so many. Well, this is all still draining. I'm still so confused by the fact that me draining my trap completely filled up that river again. It's so bizarre. I've just never seen water act like that in Dwarfort. I'm assuming it does because I've seen it now, but it's still very strange to see it. That might be maybe one of the weirder interactions I've seen in DF. All right. Just, you know, putting away bodies, a dwarfy life for me. I'm kind of sad that I think all of my metalsmiths died in that fighting. That is so sad to me. That I'm pretty sure all of my metalsmiths died in the fighting. You know, if only we had some friendly necromancers in the fort during that, because then I think everybody would have died. The thing is, we have to finish cleaning all these bodies up, chat room, and the reason we have to is because if we don't, you know what's going to happen if we don't? If we don't, well, when I come back to this fortress, it's still going to be full of bodies. Because we all know that they're not going to do it themselves. They need us. They need our assistance. They need our intelligence as players to put all the stuff away. And I want this fort to be, like, relatively clean if and when we come back. Or when we come back, rather. Oh, that too. Yeah. Ghostbusters. This place will just be like a haunted fucking nightmare if we leave and then come back right now, so. Because I do want to come back to this fortress, we have to, like, put everything away. I'm starting to run out of coffee. But at this rate, like, we already kind of need Ghostbusters. I mean, I think that there's, like, yeah, there's one, but I've seen another one that popped up and disappeared. So currently there's only one. Currently there's only one Ghostbuster or ghost on the map. But I know for a fact that there are more. But they appear and disappear kind of periodically, so. Just assign more of these dwarves as masons. Got so many rangers in this fort, it's actually kind of weird. It's also kind of sad that, like, almost all of the kids in this fort died. But, chat, have you guys ever had to clean up a mess this big in DF, or do you guys just give up? Because I feel like a lot of people who play this game, whenever a fort gets to this point, it's just like, well, wash my hands, retire, move on with their lives. Whereas I'm here just like, all right, coffin number 256, coffin number 257, coffin number 258, coffin number 259, coffin number... You rarely survive events like this, really? I don't know. I think that, like, the dwarves' ability to survive an event like this is, like, a testament to part of the reason why they're so tough, but... Oh, damn. I also forgot to turn off the pump tower. You flood the entire thing and let it go to the last dwarf? You flood it? Why do you flood it? I mean, I want my dwarves to stay alive, and I usually expel the ones I really like so that they pop up at the next fort. It's part of the reason I expelled... it's part of the reason I expelled Stone's dwarf during the fighting, is so that they'll show up in the next fort. Also because I saw an opportunity, and so I took it. When you're going to retire it anyway, you tap into a river or something. Yeah, I don't like suiciding my fort, because I almost always do more things in the same world, so I try and recover it as best as possible. I don't know, this is part of the fun of it, is cleaning up my messes. Also, I feel like you get a lot better at Dwarf Fortress cleaning up messes like this. You learn the limits of the game more, but yeah, maybe that's just me. Like, it really shows you just how much dwarves can handle. And you also get some really fucking tough dwarves. The ones that all survive this are going to be so tough by the end of it. Like, this is the best way of getting super tough dwarves. You're back? What'd you miss? A lot. Chat, what did I or stupid miss? You lived because you were right next to the door while everybody else was dying in a wall of corpses. Stone. Like, your dwarf was up here while the fighting was happening down here, and your dwarf was, like, walking back in, and you were like, yeah, what's up? Oh, my God. And I was like, expel, and you're like, bye. Ran off the map. Good, though. Good to have some dwarves who survived. Frame rate suddenly got kind of weird. What happened? Oh, it came back. It's fine. But I don't know when you left, so I can't tell you what you missed. The problem is like people often come back and they're like, I'm back. What did I miss? It's like, I don't know when you left. So I have no idea what you missed. Is usually like the actual answer. It's such a hard question to answer without some context, which I almost never get. So I have no idea what you missed. But probably a lot. We had a bunch of infighting, which was caused by me arresting all of my guests because all of them were trying to commit crimes in my fort. So naturally, I would arrest them. Anyway, eventually it kind of led to a point where one of them tantrumed when I tried to arrest him, and he fought with the guard, and the guard killed him, and that resulted in a massive spiral between the visitors and guests in my fortress, and some of the dwarves seemed to side with the guests, and some of them didn't. Anyway, it was a huge bloodbath, and the vast majority of the dwarves in the fort are dead now. Well, you see, there was a coup, a forgotten beast, a goblin siege, a badger, and a ghost, and a lot of miasma. And then that's when the day really got bad. But if you think that's bad, wait until you hear the one about the time that the human fell off of the bridge and went splat. Just remember, one of the first exciting events in this fort was a were creature fell down a waterfall. That was one of the first exciting things to happen in this fort. One of the first exciting things to happen in this fort. So what I'm waiting for is, as I'm making these coffins, at some point I'm going to make a coffin, and it's not going to have a body automatically assigned to it. When that happens is when we can stop making coffins. Yeah, and exploded at the bottom of the waterfall. That was a good day. Not gonna lie, it was a good day. There was a Dead Poets Society. Dead Poets Society should be a band. Someone needs to make a band called the Dead Poets Society. Considering there's a local band here called the Suicide Hippie Cult, which is like a doom stoner band type thing. Were they bards? It was bards, poets, scientists, mercenaries, the various visitors. Usually when there's fights like this, it's not just one thing. They were bards, they were beast hunters, they were random visitors, they were various things. It's never just one specific thing. It's always a combination of things. But yeah, Dead Poets Society needs to be a band name. Someone needs to make that band. Chat, go start a band and call it Dead Poets Society just so that I can quote that, please. Hey, we actually started making silver sarcophagus. Sweet. Because I did queue up a bunch of those. Man, I've made like 50 coffins already. I'm still putting bodies away. Dead Poets Society? Why? I mean, Jello's a brand name. I don't think Dead Poets Society is a band name or a brand name. Jello is, so that makes sense. Because gelatin is what Jello is. Jello is a brand name of dessert product of gelatin. Which one? I know several. MF Satsum. Oh, did they? Sag. Well, I don't know. Depends on who owns the right to that movie. Are they? I don't know. I was never a fan of Green Jello. I saw a Green Jello cover band once. They're not a band I've ever listened to, really. I've been familiar with their existence for a really long time, but never really listened to them. Illegal raves still happen. But it's not like they're a thing that doesn't happen anymore. Find an abandoned building and hang around long enough and eventually one will happen. I know that Green Jello still does shows, though. They actually played here pre-pandemic. It's like 2019, I think. Each Dwarf name sounds like a Hungarian metal band. I don't know about that. Mostly because I know what Hungarian sounds like, and I've read and I know what the Hungarian language looks like. And dwarves look nothing like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't like legal EDM festivals, let alone gnarly, not legal ones. Although I went to a, I guess technically illegal, but like unofficial punk show once. It's fun. That was just in a warehouse in the middle of fuck nowhere. It was definitely one of those like, yeah, we don't own this building, so like if the cops show up, run. Nobody did. It was a good show. It was a long time ago. Although most of the weird illicit shit that I've seen was not at like shows like that. Most of the weird illicit shit was in like a friend's basement. Or like when I was homeless and waking up on people's couches. That was always a strange time because like I'd wake up and just like look across the like room that I fell asleep in and just see people snorting coke. And it's like, all right, it's time to leave the building. Gotta go back to work, guys. Bye. It's fun. Thanks for the sofa. Definitely had that moment a couple of times. Not a moment I've seen in a long time. I'm glad those days are over. I should go return some videotapes. Yeah, pretty much. Actually, it was I have to go shower. There's a shower in the bathroom. No, I'm going to the public pool. It's probably cleaner. Sounds like a really shitty rave. Ira Stupid. Ira Stupid, I've got a question. Do you have any good experiences in your life? Because every time you're just like, I did this thing once, it always ends with you like getting attacked. Do you ever do good things or like fun things that end well? Because for like all of the stories I have where it's just like really weird shit happened, like I have equal number of stories, actually no, a greater number of stories where good things happened, generally. It didn't end with me getting attacked. It's like for every fight I've been in, I've like evaded a fight more. Had a lot of fun at the beach. Well, that's good. Last time I went to a beach was actually to do a polar bear swim, which would have been New Year's Day 2016 in Vancouver. My bathing suit froze to my legs. It was fun. It was minus 11 outside, and there was ice floating in the ocean. Good times. Dove into the ocean. Went for a swim. That's the last time I went to a beach. Swam around for about 15 minutes-ish until I couldn't feel my toes. And then I went and sat in a warm car and then got driven home. It was a good time. God, there's so many bodies. It's actually like kind of comical to me how many dead dwarves there are here. There's so many, holy shit. I don't think I've ever actually had a conversation with somebody on a beach that I don't know. Let alone hooked up with anybody. Hey, Hunter withdraws from society. Go make us something cool, Dwarf. Kind of hoping that we'd get a, we're in midsummer. I'm really hoping that we'll get a migrant wave. Not much of a beach person, in case you can't tell. Good people watching on the edges of beaches, though. Years ago, I was at the local lake, and there were these two guys trying to push, I guess, this one guy's girlfriend. It was either like sibling or girlfriend or something, into the lake. They were trying to push her into the lake, and she just like kept like dodging underneath them, and they just kept falling into the lake. I watched them try to like dunk this girl for like I don't know, solid 5 minutes, and she just kept evading them. It was like she put all of her stats into dodge, apparently. I was just sitting there watching this, so impressed that like these two guys were incapable of like getting this 4'1" girl underwater. Like, come on, you two. You guys are real bad at this. That or they just weren't trying very hard. Uh-oh, got some disorderly conduct calls. God, got so many crimes. Well, sorry, Goden. You get to go to prison for a bit. Got a bunch of random-ass dwarves in prison right now. Accidentally drive their cars in the ocean? Huh. That sounds like a very Florida thing to do. I've never been to Florida, but that seems like a very Florida thing. I've never actually, something I did, this isn't like, okay. So when I still lived with my parents, there was one time when my mom and dad were going to go buy alcohol. So we were in the parking lot of the liquor store, and my mom was in the liquor store, and I was sitting in the back seat of my parents' car. My dad was in the driver's seat. And right next to us, this guy walks out of the liquor store kind of staggering, and he's carrying a large bottle of something. I don't know what it was, but he was carrying a large bottle of something. Walks out of the liquor store holding it, gets into his car in the driver's seat, turns on the car, and then drives into the side of the liquor store. Like, literally just, like, pressed on the gas, didn't put his car in reverse, held all the way down, just went vroom, into the wall of the liquor store. His airbag went off, and he just kept, and it knocked him out. And he just, like, was holding down on the gas, just, like, spinning his tires towards the liquor store. That's the closest thing I've seen of a drunk driving into something. I've never seen anybody drive into the ocean before, but I did see a guy walk into a liquor store, come out with a large amount of alcohol, and then drive into the side of the liquor store. It's pretty good. Hey, the dwarf's begun a mysterious construction. Make us something cool, guy. What'd you grab? Wool cloth and logs. Man, the value of the fort's gone down so much. We're back to, like, the most basic artifacts. That's so sad. Or at least we're, like, making coffins at a good rate now. I feel like we're getting there. I think we're past halfway with all of these corpses. The problem is all these fucking teeth. There's so many teeth everywhere and bits and pieces of dwarves that are taking forever. Oh no, we got a tantrum. Godin is throwing another tantrum. Well, sheesh. Nope, no migrant waves. Although we're in midsummer. They usually show up in the fall, so we'll see. Yeah, we're not at war with our home faction or anything, so it'd be fine. Sometimes fights like that can cause war with the home faction, which hasn't happened, so that's good. It's your first time under siege? Ooh. Well, best of luck. Do you know who's sieging you? Another gremlin. God, there's so many gremlins in this world. What the fuck's going on? There's literally dozens of them. We'll see you when we see you. We'll see you when we see you, Ibigog. You have a good night. Hopefully the kids go to sleep quick. They're just micro goblins. Gremlins. Although I'm sure Gremlinkin would be very offended to hear me say that. Although I feel like gremlins and kobolds would get along. They're similar levels of evil and mischief. Although kobolds aren't evil, they're just incapable. They're like the hermit crabs of Dwarfort. They can't make their own home, so they have to steal one. I've made about... Oh! So, Raji, the criminal, has gone berserk. Robin! Welcome back!
Hi.
Thank you very much for keeping that sub alive for a 4th month. Welcome back. Check, can I get a big round of beers for the resub? And hello, Jonah Thangus? Is that how you say that? They are just feral. It is like that sometimes. What, the kobolds? Or gremlins? But yeah, no, they kind of are. I like gremlins, and I also really like kobolds. They're some of my favorite little critters in DF. Love those little weirdos. They're very fun. So many goddamn bodies! But how you doing, Robin? What's up? How's things? But yeah, I guarantee you that this is just going to be full of water. No matter how far up it goes. Still draining. Mistum, the hunter, has created Gur-Imal, a Goblin Cap Crown, and claims it as an heirloom in the name of the family ancestor Cybrick Webdoiled. The Bowl of Senses. I think that's a brain. This is a Goblin Cap Crown. All craft starship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with Goblin Cap, and this object menaces with spikes of llama wool. I'm alive. I'm present. I'm streaming. Doing okay. You go by Jonathan? Hi. I don't think you need to change your name, but if you, because like, it's all lowercase, so if you make like the J and the G uppercase, it'd be much easier to read. But I haven't played DF since 2012, before Temples and Taverns. Oh, that's like before some of the most famous bugs too. That's a really long time ago. Jeez. What's kept you away so long? You're trying to do the same. Yeah, be alive and stay alive, you know. It's like that famous song where he goes, staying alive. It's like the indecisive anthem. Someone asked him how he is, and he's just like, staying alive, I guess. I miss Evil Trick's frequent streams already. Gotta say that. You can adjust. So, hold on. Let me see if I can find the actual page. Because you can adjust the casing of your username very easily. Made your account in 2013, but yeah. So go to Twitch, click on the icon, go to settings here. And then under profile settings, scroll down to this display name, and you can set your capitalization. That's all you got to do. Just go there and change that. And if you want to change your handle, click this button. But you can only do that once every 6 months, so be wary. You too, eh? Yeah. No. Good news is the cat that died got its own coffin already. So, you know, at least the dwarves have their priorities straight. Put the cat in the coffin. God, there's so many bodies. Mayor imposed a ban on exports. Man, what? Oh, crossbows? Yeah, that's fine. I wonder if my mayor got any kills, actually. Or what they killed. You killed Aloth Walled Years. It was a dwarf. I don't think that was one of my dwarves. The mayor did kill one dwarf during the fighting, but I think that was one of the visitors. I think. Civil War? What just happened, or just a spiral? Well, I mean, everything in Dwarf Fortress needs lore applied to it for it to make sense. So what happened mechanically was probably not a tantrum spiral, but a bit of a loyalty cascade, which was caused by me arresting visitors. But, which I kind of expected, or I knew it was a possibility when I started arresting a whole bunch of visitors, because somebody stole one of my artifacts, which happens. I know who did it, and I saw who did it, so I arrested those involved, and started interrogating people and found more people who were involved, so I interrogated more people and arrested more people, so I interrogated more people and arrested more people, and I interrogated more people and arrested more people, and one of them went berserk. And when they went berserk, then my captain of the guard killed the person who went berserk, which is fine. And then that started a bit of a loyalty cascade between the bards and all the visitors and the criminals and the people who were causing trouble in the fort, and then my dwarves started fighting with them, and all of this happened when my military wasn't around, so I couldn't really fight back. So we went from about 170 dwarves down to about 30 in a couple of seconds, or down to about 20 in a couple of minutes, as my military came back, my military came in and cleaned up the rest of the saboteurs and those causing the coup, and so now we are simply cleaning up all of the bodies. That's what happened. And then when we're done cleaning up all of the bodies, I'm going to retire this fort and probably just call it for the day at that point, actually. We'll see what happens. If chat wants me to go on, then we'll do a little bit of adventuring. Otherwise, the next time we play in this world, we will start a new fortress close to this one and continue to work for the glory of the Crimson Pulley, this faction, and we will go to war and exterminate these goblins, and probably the humans as well, and probably the elves as well, because we're blaming them all for the crimes committed in this fort, naturally. My story is awesome. Thank you. Everything needs stories. Otherwise, it just becomes frustrating. Because, like, if you just assume that everything is caused by bugs or the game not working properly, then this game sucks. But if you just bullshit your way into a story, it becomes, like, this awesome, like, mini narrative. But you have to kind of do that, and that's on the player to do that. It's really kind of sad, actually. Every now and again, I'll see people playing Dwarf Fortress, and they'll be like, I saw Krug Smash or some insert YouTuber here with this great story, and I don't see any of it. How do you find these stories? It's like, well, you just need to, like, crank up your bullshitting capacity in your brain. It's called role-playing. If you've never played D&D, come on. Increase your nerd stat and come up with a cool story and tell us about it. That's the fun of Dwarf Fort. Not extermination, but definitely obliterating that one goblin group and the necromancer towers involved with it, and potentially humans if they threaten us. I don't like doing global extermination because I think that's kind of boring, because then there's like nobody to talk with, nobody to fight with, and nobody to trade with at the end, and that just kind of sucks. But all-out war between factions is fun. I mean, these guys. Although, what are you attacking? You attacking my dwarves? Man. Those fucking goblins, man. Yeah, we're gonna need to. These guys. Yeah, exactly. Hello, Troopin' Panda. Troopin' Panda. Couple new names in chat. I don't know how you guys ended up here, but hi. Welcome to the channel. Although I'm always shocked when new people find this stream, because I just kind of expect that nobody really goes looking for DF on Twitch. You played adventure mode yesterday, and there was a monk who wouldn't give you the information you needed, so you smacked him and he ran away. That sounds about good. And they ended up beating then you ended up beating the shit out of each other and both bled in the middle of nowhere. This is okay. This is like this one time I was a poet in adventure mode. I was just walking from like Dwarven Hillocks to Dwarven Hillocks, just like dancing on tables and telling my terrible poetry. And then somebody insulted my poetry, so I accused him of being a night creature. Then everybody dogpiled him and killed him, and then they killed me, which was pretty great. I was a goblin after all, so I mean it is fitting. This game is very fun. On this one vampire, you want it dead and gone. Hey, at least you didn't like pin all of the murders on a cat. I mean, I have 2 vampires in this fortress. We pointed all of the murders at them, and they're these 2, this guy and this guy. We chained them up in at the time the tavern, which was this room, and well, they both went insane before their prison sentence was over, so we didn't even get to like do anything fun with them. And then this human over here who's berserk and chained up is another prisoner who's actually the prisoner who started the loyalty cascade / coup in the first place, which is kind of amazing. So, you know. Still building coffins. Exclamation point tile set. It's a modified version of the YouTuber Krug Smash's tile set. But exclamation point tile set will just give it to you. Click that and you'll auto-download it. No problem. It's just an ASCII tile set, so... I don't really like the graphical ones. I find them a little bit too tricky to follow. But this one is very bold and obvious and clear. I like it. Got DF as a category followed, so you stumbled in here. I get you. Yeah. I stream Dwarf Fortress like at least 4 days a week. Sometimes 5. Although tomorrow's my day off. I always just kind of assume that people who stumble in here who are new, usually, especially if it's around like a time like this, I always just assume that you saw the recent interview that I did, which is this. Here, I will link it. Because this was on Thursday. I always just assume that's how people get here, but, you know, often it's not the case, so. Because I had both Zach and Tarn on the stream on Thursday. You were listening to the DF streams you post on YouTube? Gotcha. How alive and unchanged Dwarf Fortress is? What do you mean by alive and unchanged? Like, as in it hasn't changed much over the years? I mean, it's still very much the same game as it's been all of this time. It's just little improvements here and there, little tweaks here and there, variety added here and there, more things to do here and there. But it is still largely the same game as it's always been. Iron Hand? Yeah. Well, I mean, Iron Hand's a classic. Iron Hand's artist, Jacob, is one of the people working on the Steam version now. Apparently, it's like just his part-time job, and he does it. He has a full-time job as well. So he's literally just like doing art for Dwarf Fortress on the weekends. Like, kind of crazy, actually. Oh, the vibe isn't changed? Gotcha. Still complaining about children and goblins. I mean, in this fort earlier, during that fighting, there was a necromancer in the corner that kept beating a child to death, rezzing him into a zombie, and then beating the zombie to death, and then rezzing it, and then beating it to death, and then rezzing it, and then beating it to death, and then rezzing it, and beating it to death until rezzing it, and then beating it to death, and then rezzing it, until my military showed up and just killed both of them. So, you know. Yep, still complaining about children. Although, the premium version on Steam, the long-awaited Chores edition is supposedly confirmed now, which I'm so excited about. Which means we definitely don't have child labor. We have chores, meaning children will be able to haul, construct, and do various other menial tasks, like clean. So we could have, like, 50 kids in your fort, and they'll, like, run around hauling shit for you. Which is amazing. I can't wait. Even if they're slow and inefficient, I don't care. So happy that the kids are going to do something aside from, like, just vomit. Which is currently all they really do. Yes, the child late with chores update. Yes, definitely. Not to be confused with the child slavery. I mean, what is it? Schooling and education? Well, I can't remember if you were here for the part where like 70% of the fort died. Were you? Because that happened, not planned. It's vocational education. It's not child labor, it's learning on the job. Once again, chat, you guys try to explain to Amateur how it happened and why we're now building like 150 coffins. It's fine. We just have to build like 150 coffins. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Nobody died recently in the last 10 minutes. There's still miasma. Don't worry about it. It's fine. You remembered the blood everywhere? So do I. How could I ever forget? Oh yeah, also in this fort, we have a fully drainable river, which we are re-draining now. It filled itself back up when I drained my trap. But this river is fully drained. Or fully draining. and it's done it twice. It's just refilled right now because I'm draining my water trap into it. But yeah, we have a fully drainable river. It's not child labor. We're just giving all of the children in the fortress forklift certification. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Definitely don't tell my superior, because I will lose my job for hiring 12-year-olds. But yeah, so in regards to the blood everywhere, that's because there was a bit of a misunderstanding in the criminal justice department. But it's fine. All of the people who are guilty are dead. So are most of my dwarves. But the bonus is now we have this snazzy new table over here in the corner made out of dwarven bone. It's a dwarf bone table. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with square billion onyxes and opals. Also, the very first casualty of the coup was a cat. The first thing I saw die in the fighting was a cat. Dwarf Fortress never changes. The fact that the first thing to die was a cat. It's so typical. Can't pay salaries if they're too young to work. I mean, it's okay. No dwarves get salaries. They get food and alcohol. Not always in that order. Sometimes it's alcohol and food. Frankly, though, depending on the quality of the food and alcohol, some people might actually take that over a salary. Well, that's a ghost. One day you'll get put away. I have this, which is a big old drowning trap, which is currently draining. Probably not going to get used again. But that is my drowning trap. I'm trying to drain it down to nothing so that when I retire this fort, when I reclaim it, the water isn't somewhere else. Because if there's a big water cistern or something and you retire a fort and then you reclaim it later, it's extremely likely that when you reclaim it later, the water will just be somewhere else. And not where you want it to be, most likely. And then suddenly all your dwarves will drown, which I've had happen before. Roof is optional, but dinner and booze are mandatory. They don't necessarily get a roof. Sometimes they get a bed if they're lucky. Occasionally they get new pants or socks. You carrying that giant skink? No. Okay. That's what I want. Carpenter shop, because they destroyed the old one in the fighting. The main reason I really want a migrant wave is because it would speed up this cleaning process. I don't currently have enough dwarves to actually put all these bodies away in a reasonable amount of time. Although once all of these coffins are done, it'll speed up. It's nice. The first three fortresses, your last three fortresses failed since I accidentally flooded them multiple times. But either a werebeast smashed those guys trying to fix stuff, or the dwarves did the other fun stuff they didn't anticipate. If you flooded them because of aquifers, anybody who hasn't played this game in a while, I would like to inform you that aquifers have been nerfed down to unless you, there's now 3 different types of aquifers. So there's light aquifers, varied aquifers, and heavy aquifers. Light aquifers are like a drip, drip, drip so much that you can just quite literally ignore them if they're small. Varied aquifers are varied, and heavy aquifers are the old aquifers. And heavy aquifers are quite rare, so you can just kind of ignore an aquifer now, which is lovely. I'm trying to figure out why you are hauling a slab. Oh, I see. You're putting it in a stockpile. Okay. After the siege, necromancers did shit. It was no. Are you saying it didn't end well for your dwarves? Ripping pepperonis in that case. My God, there's still so many bodies everywhere. I can't handle it. There's so many bodies. Lord. It is actually necessary as a resource. If you want your dwarves to not die in your hospital, you need to have water in your fort. Also soap. And if you want dwarves to actually heal from their wounds properly, you need to have water in your fort. And also soap. If they don't heal from their wounds properly, then they get scars, and their wounds will not heal properly. And if their wounds don't heal properly and they get scars, then they are weaker in the future. Has returned his soul and powers to his benefactor. Does that mean I'm dead? I'm dead? Are you telling me that I'm dead? Because in that case, you should get another necromancer to resurrect me into a lich, because I'll be much more efficient that way. I won't have my normal depressive tendencies. I'll just be a necromancer. Necessary, you know it has uses? I mean, I would say that having water in your fort's necessary, but it's up to you, I guess. Masterwork has been lost? What? Ow. One time I intentionally drained an ocean into hell. We were getting swarmed by demons, and so I channeled an ocean into the route that the demons were coming out of, so they just went gurgle, 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 gurgle. Undead in Dwarf Fortress have no mental capacity, so they just don't feel anything about anything. So you know those dwarves in Dwarf Fortress where it's just like they don't feel anything about this, they don't feel anything about that? An intelligent undead dwarf has all of the exact same capacities as a normal dwarf, except they don't sleep, they don't eat, they don't drink, and they don't think about anything. They just exist. Undead dwarves have the mental capacity of a mentally numb goblin. They don't need to sleep, they don't need to drink, and they just exist. So, intelligent undead dwarves are probably the most efficient workers you can have in Dwarf Fort. They're also the best corpse cleaners. The problem is they don't actually gain any skills, I don't think. So they just have the skills that they had when they died. But if you have a necromancer who is alive, when they die, if they get resurrected by another necromancer, they maintain their necromantic abilities, but they don't think about anything anymore. So you can actually have undead necromancers instead of just necromancers, which are immortal. Anyway, you can have undead necromancers, which are undying and incapable of dying, which are very efficient at everything. But it can be a challenge because they might, if they get resurrected as just a normal zombie and not an intelligent undead, then they lose everything. Actually, no, that sounds like Depression 2.0. As somebody who's frequently depressed in real life, I can confirm. I feel like feeling absolutely nothing is probably worse. Probably like just ultimate nonstop depression, except you're not capable of really responding to it. You just exist in it all the time. Ooh. Someone on my Discord's posting pictures of canned food. I'm jealous. Canning food by oneself seems fun. There's so many teeth. Although some of these bones are actually starting to, like, disappear. Like, I'm not seeing any corpses in this area anymore, which is actually really good to finally fucking see. I mean, obviously there's still a bunch up here. There's still a bunch up here, too. But we are getting there. We are, in fact, getting there. But yeah, to anybody, like, if you haven't seen my stuff before, I actually have 2 fortress worlds that I keep going. One of them is Long Death, which is me trying to keep a single fortress alive for 1,000 years. And currently we're on year, like, 380, I think, ish, give or take. 5 years. And then there's this world where I'm just running multiple forts in this world. This is the 2nd fort I've built in here, and we've done, like, I don't know, maybe a dozen adventurers in this world, too. Canning and brewing feels like preparing presents for your future self. Yeah, just like saving money is preparing presents for future self. Also, the dry season has come. Meaning, I don't think we'll need to bless the rains in Dwarf Fort anymore. At least for not for a little bit. Is that new? Nope, it just means that we are in a very warm place. If you settle, well, it's not new, but it might be new for you. If you settle in an area that doesn't really get seasons, so somewhere that's close to the equator, you have the dry season and the wet season. Instead of, like, the other seasons. Well, you'll still get the other seasons. You'll get spring and fall, and then dry and wet. But it doesn't actually get cold in any of them. It just rains more in the winter instead of, you know, actually being winter. Oh no, the fish man, no, not the fish man, the elf actually up here. The elf fisherman, who is another one of the people who was part of the coup attempt, has gone insane. I love how they're all just slowly going insane. I mean, they did it to themselves, really. They didn't need to try and overthrow my fortress, but damn it, they did. So, that's on them. If only they didn't try to overthrow my fortress. If only they just let us be and let us live. As the good dwarves that we are. Nope. Didn't figure out the root agent, unfortunately. I mean, there was a lot of different agents, I think. I mean, look at all these. Implicate somebody, somebody. Implicate somebody, confessed, implicate somebody, implicate somebody, implicate somebody. Oh, there's one. But, yeah, that's the one that we got, is gonna shovel rules. Yeah, that's the only, like, implication person that we actually spotted, is Gunnish Shovel Rules, who was one of the people who was trying to instigate a coup. Never trust an elf? Elves are fine. Elves are actually really nice to be friends with. Never trust a traveling bard or mercenary, though. Doesn't matter whether or not they're an elf or not. We're not racist. Never trust a traveling mercenary, a traveling bard, or a traveling religious character, or a... Never trust a traveler in Dwarf Fortress. But, elves are fine. I mean, heck, goblins are fine too, assuming they show up in the correct context. And by that I mean sporting a large beard, asking for some ale, which many goblins do. Oh my word. We may actually be at the point where... Never mind. I thought for a second there we were at the point where all of the coffins were assigned. Nope. Still working on them. Still working on them. Got about 50 coffins left to make. Never trust a traveling were-llama. I can't remember the last time I lost a fort actually to a were creature. It's so easy to avoid were creatures. Sure. So you should, like, you know, don't be racist against them just because they ask you to, like, operate within their religious values when you're on their land. I don't see how that's a horrible thing for you to accommodate for. Like, literally, they give you, like, 150 trees to chop down a year. You never need 150 trees a year. Even if you're melting down Goblinite, you still don't need 150 trees a year. It's not hard at all to operate within their perfectly reasonable requests. I mean, it's obviously a perfectly reasonable trade because in return, they bring you large animals, which are both delicious, trainable for war often, and great for the prosperity of your fort. I mean, it's a fair deal, I say. Just like here, on Earth, we need to respect the people who were here before us. Same with Dwarf Fort. Especially if you're the one who moved in recently. Colonialism is bad. No, it's not. This was back before multi-tile trees? Sure. But we've had multi-tile trees for decades now, almost. Don't use elves as an excuse to pretend to be racist on the internet. Which is literally all that is. Think about it in the context of never trust a traveler. Nothing wrong with elves. Elves are fine. Considering out of all of the characters that are chained up in the fortress right now, there's one elf, the rest are dwarves or human. And you singled out never trust an elf. That's using elves as an analog for racism. Which is exceptionally common, actually, in fantasy, but something that we need to be careful about. Because all jokes and all stories and all tales are all based in reality. We're the people who need to be better. Come on, bring those coffins over. Where are you going? Also, for clarity, one of my favorite things to do in games is completely overthink everything because that's how I make it enjoyable. I think that the way that Dwarf Fortress simulates its racial politics is actually fascinating. Considering dwarves themselves are actually extremely tolerant in general. What idle thought and question in response to your idle thought or question? What's the difference? We created fantasy creatures as humans as analogs for racial stereotypes. This is a fact. You can add a different word to it. It's the same thing. If there was other species on Earth, it would have the same effect. They are an analog for a different race. They are a made-up creation of humans to represent a different race without being obviously racist. That's why fantasy exists. To create analogs. They're still afraid of adamantine? I can teach you how to dig through adamantine. Actually, I've got multiple videos on my YouTube on how to dig through adamantine safely. Just smooth it and fortify it first. You can see behind it. So if you do accidentally dig too deep, the creatures can't get out. So dig one layer out, or dig one line of blocks out, smooth the next line, fortify the line, dig them out, smooth the line, fortify, dig them out, smooth the line, fortify, dig them out. But at the end of the day, be nicer to elves in Dwarfort. They're trying to be nice with you. If they didn't want to be nice to you, they would be like goblins and they would just siege you out of nowhere for no reason, for you existing. But elves try to negotiate. They're a bit rude about it. They could be more tactful. But it's up to you to be the better person and not start wars. Also, they're literally the least interesting faction to fight with in Dwarf Fortress. They fucking attack you with waffle bats and wood. They're also the only faction in the game. When they siege you, they're not there to actually kill all of you. They're there to scare you. And there's actually a mechanical fact about that. When humans siege you, they siege, meaning they sit out in the outside of your fortress and wait for you to come out and fight with them, and will not leave until either most of them their majority is dead or your majority is dead. So they will not leave until the majority of your dwarves are dead. And goblins are the same way, except goblins don't siege, they just attack. So the goblins will just attack you blindly, and their goal is to kill every single dwarf in the fort. Whereas elves will only fight until they run out of ammunition. The second they run out of arrows, they will leave. Which is why when you attack, when human seeds you, that's funny. When you get attacked by elves, they will fight with you until they run out of arrows. When they run out of arrows, they leave. Because they're only there to stop you from chopping down the trees. They're not there to actually kill you. Maybe get some snacks on the way. Because they like to eat bodies. How do you get them to bring beasts and not tons of cloth? Well, I mean, it depends on what's close to them, right? They have to be living somewhere where there happens to be cool creatures, right? So maybe, like, you just happen to be trading with, like, the farmers, the ones that are out in, like, the fields. You need to trade with elves that are somewhere cooler, that have cooler toys. But it's always kind of a dice roll. Either it's like they don't bring much, or they bring giant elephants. Oops, that's not the button that I want. All right. Well, we are getting there. There's like what, one, two, 3, 4, 5 dwarves left. Corpses that I'm seeing. Yeah, most of the dwarven corpses are gone. So this is good news. Yeah, it's been true since the start. Fun fact, I actually learned about that mechanic from one of the earliest DF Talk episodes, which came out in like 2009. Actually, they were talking about sieges versus stealth sieges and like what causes sieges and when they leave and all that. And so that's been true for more than 10 years. That's been true since like the beginning. The elves just want to negotiate. The humans are actually the evilest faction, and the goblins are unfortunately enslaved and are actually great little dudes when they're not enslaved by evil monsters. The problem is they're usually enslaved by evil monsters, so they're usually just primeval. That's the issue with the goblins, is the goblins are just enslaved. The goblins are just sad. The humans are actually malevolent and evil. Zombies don't leave. Zombies are too unintelligent to realize that they're sieging you. So zombies are just there to hang out and eat things that move. So zombie necro sieges, you just need if there's a necromancer, you just need to kill the necromancer and then the zombies will just slowly disperse. If it's just the dead walk, hide while you still can, and a bunch of zombies show up by themselves with nothing else, it's just zombies, then you have to kill all the zombies or they won't leave. And if they have a commander, they will disperse if you kill the commander. So if there's like a necromancer, kill the necromancer. That should always be your goal. If there's a necro siege and there's a necromancer with them, kill the necromancer because they're in charge. Elves just want to sell you hemp and save the trees, man. And check out this giant elephant. Can you tell why I identify? Can you tell why I identify with elves a little bit here? They just want to eat each other and save the trees and sell you hemp. It's poor elves. It's such a hard time. Early autumn. Hey, the ghostly diagnoser has finally been put to rest. Do we have any other ghosts? I think no. Just the one uninvited guest down in the basement who I still need to kill. Hey, the outpost liaison has arrived. But the wagons have bypassed. It's fine. I can't trade with them anyway. Outpost liaison's gonna walk and be like, the fuck happened here? Also, we have a new outpost liaison. You don't even need to post sentries. You just need a dog on a chain. Another gremlin. Good lord, there's a lot of gremlins in this world. Bye, gremlin. I love the fact that the key press for coffin is right next to the key press for beds, and half the time when I'm trying to place coffins, I end up placing beds. It's actually, like, way too amusing to me. It shouldn't be as funny as it is, but it's really funny to me. I feel like if I was these dwarven traders, I would just leave. When I walked into this fort and saw all this, I feel like I would just leave. What, the gremlins? Gremlins like levers and pulling them. That's it. Animal, why did you just kill that dwarf? What? Hold on. What just happened? Godin, did you commit a crime? Just okay. Okay, yeah, sure. Fair. So my captain of the guard just killed a dwarf because he committed a crime. That's fine. It's okay. We don't need no crime committers here. We're busy cleaning up bodies. We only need stable-minded, intelligent dwarves that can handle the carnage. That's totally justifiable murder, I would say. Punch through skull. No, it was more than one punch. I mean, it was like a whole page of punches. It was administrator scratches the captain of the guard. Also, I think he attacked the captain of the guard. Captain of the guard punches the administrator in the head, and with his right hand, and the injured part explodes. Punched him in the head, and his head exploded. Wait, never mind, officer. Yep. It's not murder. It's dwarven enforcement. An unfortunate necessity. All right. Well, it does look like we are damn close to the end of all of these coffins that are needed. So that's good. This is why you have to make your captain of the guard a adamantine hammer wielding weakling who cries whenever they get into combat so they don't kill your dwarves, but you see, the thing is, all of my weaklings are dead, so Yeah, we actually have a waffle bat somewhere in this fortress, which is that adamantine warhammer. An artifact adamantine warhammer, nonetheless. All right, so it looks like we are through it, meaning I can start assigning corpses to be dumped. Cancel the silver coffins. We'll keep making the rock coffins, though. Yeah, they've stopped assigning bodies to coffins, meaning we've actually caught up. I've made enough coffins now. So now it's just a matter of getting the last of these constructed. Did the Carnage drive that dwarf to commit the crime? Probably. I would say probably. I don't know for certain, but I would say probably. Also, holy shit, I've been streaming for 9 hours? When did that happen? Jeez. Hollow 9-hour stream. On the 9th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 9-hour stream. Alright, all of these are built, so I will make all of these into tombs available for burial. Perfect. Cancel the last of those. Go into the jobs screen. Cancel, 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 cancel. And now it's just the dump item jobs that need to be done. Meaning, everybody's going to go get a drink because they all need it. And then everybody's going to start putting shit away. Seven gifted subs, 6 emotes, 5 mods to ban. 5 mods to ban, I guess, would probably be. 4 Misty M's. Something like that. 4 Misty M's. 3 something. 2. I don't know. I need to make a Twitch cover of that song, apparently. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. What's up, Armor? Crypt Y? Crypt Y, somebody. Please. There you go. Tommy, why though? Tommy, when are you gonna put out your new movie? Still waiting on Big Shark. Big Shark was set to come out in 2019 and it still hasn't released yet. I cannot explain how actually kind of weirdly sad I am about that. I shouldn't be even remotely upset that a Tommy Wiseau movie hasn't come out yet, but damn, I'm still kind of sad. I don't know when Goblin Mouse happens. Probably right before, but not after Dead Mouse. Anyway, so there's this guy. This guy is a quadruped composed of charcoal with 2 stubby tails, and it has a bloated body. Meaning, we need to let it into the fort. So, because if I want to be able to abandon and reclaim this fort, I need to have access to it. So where the fuck is my stairs? Okay. Let's just let this thing into the fort. It'll be fine. What could possibly go wrong? Charcoal. Yeah, you heard me. I'm just waiting for the carnage to happen. Okay. There you go. So now... I need a dwarf who can go and do a little bit of digging. Quick. Want to go do some digging? Tekkud the Butcher? Unless somebody else has that job. This is a very shallow fort, by the way. Alright, this is going to do some fucky things to the pathing for a minute. It's fine, though. Basically, my entire fortress just suddenly became military because they're all in the military. It's like... I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 dwarves out of 46 that are not in the military. Everybody else is in the military. Because everybody else is dead. So my mayor picked up a pick. And is now choosing to go eat instead of, like, you know, opening the hole in the wall that I need you to open. There you go. Okay, someone's coming to do it. I don't know who, but someone is. All right, so, chat, I need you guys to play some bets. How many just type in a number. How many dwarves do you think are going to die in this fight? It has webs and it's made of charcoal, but it is pretty injured, and apparently a giant pangolin's fighting. Anyway, that's other news. $47? I have 46 dwarves, Red Octobear. They always have webs. Why do they always have webs? I didn't even eat webs. It's true. 6 to 7. 6? 0? Oh, wow. Ambitious? One of them will get raised by a necromancer and die. Well, there is no necromancers left in the fort. They all died. We killed them all. I do think it's kind of funny. Like, 47 will die. It's like, I have 46 dwarves, though. How could 47 die? And thunk. And just like that, put all the dwarves into the thingy. Let's follow our uninvited guest, shall we? Who's now a very welcomely invited guest. Come on, you weird, Sodor, Stos Petru, Forgotten Beast, quadruped composed of charcoal, heading up and into the fortress, all the way up to the top, apparently. Back down and into the main area. It seems that Saigun, the swords dwarf, who is equipped with a copper high boot and bismuth bronze breastplate and an adamantine short sword, is dueling with it, and it's dead. So that was easy. The Forgotten Beast, the swords dwarf slashes the Forgotten Beast in the head with her adamantine short sword, and the severed part sails off in an arc. Literally just beheaded it on the stairway. Well, I would say good for you. Aha! No deaths, I don't think. Yes, no deaths. Huzzah! Success! Success is me. All right, and now the dwarves are finally removing corpses. No, there was one fiery forgotten beast down there, which was killed by that charcoal forgotten beast. The other one died a while ago. We killed it. Not really in the business of letting forgotten beasts live these days. Not in this fort, anyway. Long Death, yes. This one, no. This one, we just we, you know, give them an extermination notice. All right, though. So, going to lock this door for a second once you pass through here. Like this. Pull the lever. Also, I'm gonna go down here. Oh, I'm your liaison from the Mountain Homes. Let's discuss your situation. Where did everybody go and why did they all die? Pull that lever. And that lever. As much to share, we've updated your civilization world info. I don't know. Just give me all the metal. Thank you. And I look forward to our meeting next year. Our fortunes rise and fall together as I jump up here and pull the river flow lever. Right, bunch of levers getting pulled in pretty quick succession here. Man, I wish my neighbors upstairs had a mute button. Dwarves are getting to socialize for a little bit, which is good for them probably. Goodbye, frames, apparently. Well, at the very least, these dwarves are kind of recovering a little bit, but it's still not possible. It's still not possible, or not possible. It's still not going towards the positive. But things are improving in the fort. It's no longer filled with the corpses of our dead friends. Now only filled with the corpses of our enemies and some of the corpses of our friends. Let's just. Let's wait until that lever's pulled. Dwarves running over there. You're running over there. They're probably all going over there to pull those levers. Oh, I'm understanding now why it's not why the frame rate's bad and why they're not pulling that lever is because I didn't pull that one. Or stomping around. I don't like noise canceling headphones, and these are open back, so. Noise canceling headphones are real bad for your hearing, and because I wear headphones like 12 to 15 hours a day, I want to wear headphones that are not bad for my hearing. You just finished driving? Hell yeah. Glad to hear that you drove safe. Dude. Need you to pull the lever. And dwarves, you really don't want to pull that lever. Unless it canceled? Maybe it canceled. Nope. Maybe like a do it now order on this. Do a task now! There you go. It's like closed back headphones are fine. Or noise canceling headphones are fine if you're not wearing them very long. But Because, like, I've been wearing these headphones probably for about 10 hours already today. There's that done. Let's just do that. And then this. Let the corpse dumping begin. Apparently I struck Amethyst? Oh, I guess my dwarves are running out into the caverns. So who's coming to pull that lever? Look at all those bodies. We're bringing all the plump helmet men. All the marmots. Read The Dwarf. We have a book just called The Dwarf. All right, let's see. What are the odds somebody gets crushed in this? What are the odds? I'd say the odds are pretty good. But, let's see. So, Amos, the hunter, is going to go pull this lever. One dwarf in there. There's a goblin right in front of you. Ooh, are we going to crush a goblin on mistake? Out of there, goblin. Get out of there. Oh, yay, the goblin made it out. Sweet. No goblin getting squished today. That was very close. We almost squished a goblin. Would have been some amazing comedy if we had, though. Right, so some dwarves are still placing items in tombs. The rest of them are just throwing shit in the trash. And they'll keep at it for a bit. I can't believe... I'm pretty damn convinced. Okay, so we've missed one... Literally 3 dwarves. 3 dwarves didn't get coffins. Every other one of them has gotten a coffin so far. So I don't know what happened to these 3, but everybody else got a coffin. Everybody's either slabbed or entombed or both. I think we did a pretty good job of this cleanup. And the fort's still perfectly functional. Like, we could absolutely recover this fortress back to its former glory. Absolutely, 100%. So I think it's safe to say that Hotbeards will prevail, and Hotbeards is angry. You've missed the last 5 hours? So the short version is there's only 46 dwarves left out of, 160? 170? There was a bit of a spiral, which was caused by me arresting all of my guests. The reason I was arresting my guests is because somebody stole my artifacts, so I started interrogating everybody and arresting everybody and doing that. Anyway, one of the beatings of one of the guests caused an infighting, which caused an explosion of violence, which caused a large portion of my dwarves to die, which caused a necromancer who happened to be visiting to beat a child to death, resurrected as a zombie, and then beat it to zombie back and forth about a dozen times before finally my military showing up again because they were out destroying one of the goblin pits, which is what we were doing, right? So all my military finally came back, and then they swept through and killed all the remainders, plus all of the traitors, plus everybody who started the fighting in the first place, and it ended with me going from about 170 dwarves down to about 50. And now we're down to 46. But then we survived a siege and 2 forgotten beasts. It's been a stream. Anyway, the plan now is deal with all of these corpses, and once the majority of the corpses are dealt with, at least all the ones on the bridge and in the living room and all that, and in these areas, once all these corpses are dealt with, we can then retire the fort and go to war with everybody who caused all of this chaos to happen in the first place, because it's clearly their fault. It is clearly their fault. I mean, who else's fault could it possibly be? Also, I'm going to make a new burrow. This is going to be the meanest burrow I've ever made. It's going to be for this area right here. Now we're going to call it Get Rid of Body. And I'm going to put all of the dwarves into the meanest burrow I've ever done, which is Get Rid of Body. And we are going to dump everything that is right here all the way up to there. And everything that is here all the way up to there. Get rid of everything in this hallway. Everybody get rid of body. Come on, dwarves. You guys have one job, and it's very simple. Get rid of body. We'd sell body to human, but human don't want bodies, so. So that's kind of the plan, Darren. Or maybe not the plan, but that's what's happening. And that's the result. Looks like they're all putting whatever they were hauling into there and then grabbing stuff and dumping it. Come on, guys. Not that hard of a job. Standard DF on a Sunday? Pretty much, yeah. Well, I mean, we did build a church. That's pretty Sunday appropriate, I think, right? It's okay. The child didn't get beaten to death repeatedly in the church. That happened outside of the church. So God's day was still effective, I would say. They really don't want to dump items while locked in here, do they? There we go. Now they're starting to get the dump item jobs. They've started to figure out what needs doing. They've started to realize that this is their life now, and they've just got to dump it all. Get rid of all of it. All the bodies are gone. You guys can go back into the fort. I know you're getting thirsty, but when all of the bodies are gone, you guys can go back into the fort. Merchants are leaving soon. I don't blame them. I would too. You know what? Let's also give them normal burrow one. Actually, you know what? No. Let's just turn all these off. This is silly. I do still need them to get rid of these goddamn bodies, though. You know what? Maybe now is just the time to do it. Alrighty, dwarves. Hotbeards, you were a lovely fort. You were good fun. You had a big water reservoir. A massive cliff. Unfinished structures on the top. Multiple aqueducts. And a river we drained. The actual church that we built in the middle of the river. The lower layers. Caverns. You were a good fort. We even had adamantine swords and a adamantine waffle bat made as an artifact by one of our lovely dwarves. Remember this fort, chat. We will return here. Hotbeards will live on. Hotbeards shall prevail. This was a good fort. When your plans get moved to another day, is that a good thing? It depends. I guess it depends on the plans. You were a good fort. Till next time. Your fortress has settled into the rhythm of day-to-day living beyond your meticulous concern. And it got moved to next Monday? Oh, is that to, like, teach people how to do the job where you work or something? Or is that for something else? Well, hell yeah. Less work tomorrow. More work later. This is a nice round number. Shoutouts to the last person who followed me whose name starts with a B. Because you brought me up to 14,500 followers on the dot. I've been at like 14,495 forever because people kept on following. So, yay! We're at 14,500 followers on Twitch. 14,500 followers still kind of irrelevant. That's me. Feels good. But it was fun. It was fun. Chat, we've been streaming for 9.5 hours today. I kind of wasn't planning on taking that long to end that fort. But, for reference,